Adelaide Freemason Corrupt City, Part 3. He made a book, God Hates Us All, and he's a Hollywood actor. She's doing it on a magazine, doing the devil's horns. Bill Clinton and his mate doing the devil's horns. Kylie Minogue with the Freemason Satan Bible. There it is, a holy Bible for the Freemasons with a symbol on it. Feel sorry for old Drain. They all get a bit upset when they're coming from a Christian household despising the devil. Then they got to go off and worship the devil. Sometimes they commit suicide. Here's the old female devil worshippers with their aprons on. Lucifer, who's 666, is a saviour in Freemason's secret world view. Hollywood actor with his mouth taped shut. If they talk, they're finished. Poor old Eddie, struggling to be a Freemason. George Bush doing the between the first knuckle handshake with a thumb. Master of the Lodge sign. Hillary doing the forky fingers. There's the grand Freemason Lodge with all the witchcraft crowd and devil worshippers. Ah, there they are, the Grand Lodge. And here's all the young female devils that I was up against. They're coming out of the Freemason Lodge in droves, as you can see. Initiated female Freemason Lodge members. You know, these females have all got to be like the men, march along topless with a sword up to their breast, blindfolded, to swear allegiance they will never talk about what they know. Can you just imagine them all undressed? There it is, 666 Satan. Old Freemason signage. You talk, you have your head removed. Beetles can't run along quick enough hanging the cross upside down, a sign of Satan, to join the lodge. No wonder they retired as millionaires. More head removal if you talk. She's going to fix the whole show up. Another Hollywood actor. Bring in the devil and get rid of Christianity. The Satanic Bible. Need I say more? All of them initiated Freemasons, plus hundreds of thousands more, all over the Western world. Need I say more? Left eye. They're getting it out in the open now, looking through the left eye on magazines with smart young female Freemasons. What's he say? Life starts when the church ends. Hollywood actor. The Forky Fingers. Another Hollywood singer. Another actor. Justin Timberlake doing the 666 with the fingers through the left eye. Another one. Back to these devils in Adelaide. That's what long black hair was driving on that day. 1985 VK Commodore with the cop lights on the top. They're the ones that's got to pay third-party bodily injury, and they're the ones that don't want these swoop and stop and set up accidents like I was in. Okay? I had cameras handy all the time once I woke up. I have 500 photos of criminals trying to stage accidents with me in cars. Nowhere I can take them because all the Freemasons control everything in Adelaide. You're wasting your time going anywhere near them, living in the place or going near it. Stay away. There's the old goat's head with the Freemason star. There's the female Freemason Lodge symbol. And the secateurs are not what they say, it's the actual man on top of the woman here. These photos are all out of the vault on the Freemason Lodge. They're not available to the public. But I got them and many more. To prove my point, the Freemasons run everything, not just the courts and politicians and business. They are the true master race of Australia. Colin Taylor, previously mentioned, said the Premier John Bannon appointed all the magistrates and judges to the bench in South Australia, and all of them were Freemasons. When I asked him, were they? He said, they're definitely all Freemasons. That's what's better than getting it from the horse's mouth. Colin Taylor was the right-hand man of John Bannon in Prospect, where he lived. The Age newspaper reporter in Franklin Street made a complaint. I was telling her about the railroading that went on in court, a false complaint she made. I was out to get the driver Lee, and resulted in the coppers Constable Baxter and his mate telling me that I must stop investigating the matter after being extremely ugly and abrupt in the beginning, standover merchants. There's much more to this story than I have told here, but this is 60-70% of the evil Freemasons putting me under constant attack in Adelaide, the evil empire without prejudice. This is my right to tell my story as it happened, as you can see with the documented evidence from time to time. It's all about warning men. The Freemasons are in total control of your life. In the Parliament of South Australia, yes, they have new Labor Premier, but remember, leopards don't change their spots. This is what obviously happens to a lot of other men in Adelaide. The Freemasons play cat and mouse with them because they know they've got all avenues covered with Freemasons. You can't escape their little traps in the courts. They can play games like they did with the one copper who never showed up and the other one impersonated her. When I was in Maitland years later, police were using satellites, finding people were digging holes and growing dope in the bush, digging holes for prime ministers and drug crops. They use satellites to locate all, and in Sydney at the same time they use satellite tracking to find stolen mobile phones. This is the technology they got, watching you all the time. Remember, this was back in the 90s. Think of what they got now, watching you without even you knowing. Australia is beyond this police state. It's a Freemason master race state. Before all this happened, I had customer Tony Bryant, ex-police prosecutor in Adelaide. And Tony Bryant told me quite clearly if he was charged with anything, he'd immediately get out of Adelaide on the nearest flight because they're all corrupt. And this come from the horse's mouth, ex-police prosecutor. Well, it didn't take long for him to have a fatal accident. He had one down at Manningham, floating in a tube, so his partner told me. But there was lies involved. I found out from someone else. It was a speedboat hit their speedboat and killed him. Accident Inc. strikes again. You can find out on Google if you search enough that Adelaide was founded by Freemasons. They are all inside the government, judiciary, lawyers, politicians, business. They all lean in one direction with each other like the wind blowing the grass, leaning in one direction. They're attacking you, stealth Freemason attack after attack I have put up with from this crowd. Then there was a clerk of the civil court, George. He was getting my confidence because they were telling him to break out of the Hillcrest Psychiatric Hospital and seek refuge in my house, and it was all just a set-up to get my confidence to take it to court. At the end of the day, it was all a set-up by Freemasons, and then they had Prescott from the county court to come and rule on the civil case after I took evidence and the repairer of the vehicle for $2,100, and I still had to pay $7,000 according to him, and their lawyer was behind me, and I caught her at the last minute waving all the civil court magistrates out so they could get him to do a number on me. You see the Freemason setups continuously. He invited me to visit him George invited me to visit him at the Hillcrest Nut House, which I did, and it was all a trap to get me to go and take it to court. I took it to the Supreme Court on the magistrate's decision. David Gurry, the Supreme Court opposition lawyer, presenter, whatever, another woman before Justice DeBell. And I told Justice DeBell clearly that the policewoman who come into court wasn't the same one that arrived at the accident scene. And Justice DeBell said, I make a ruling she's one and the same. And that ruling he made in the court never appeared on the transcript papers that I paid for. It's all smooth talk about why he did it, and he agrees with the magistrate, blah, 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 all Freemason talk. One Freemason covering for the other all the time. That's Adelaide. So in the magistrate's court, there was a woman secretary there, writing all the details down. She was in with them, as I said, and the secretary, jotting it all down in the Supreme Court, was also in with them, producing a transcript that had nothing in reality of the day that I was in there arguing with Justice DeBell. She's another woman. How many have I counted? This is probably 14 or 15 by now. working hard against me for the Freemasons they work for, and are Freemasons themselves. I noticed Harradine and Prosecutor Brain had the one thing in common: they had broken noses. No doubt when they were setting other men up, they got punched in the nose repeatedly, because they're railroaders. Your own lawyer, your own barrister, and the prosecutor and the magistrates, they're all railroaders in Adelaide, and they set you up like that, trying to make you mad so you'll strike out and punch one of them so they can put you in jail. They're all professional set-up merchants in Adelaide courts. Just be aware of them. I've done the hard yards, now I've told you. Every man, be careful of Adelaide. If you're charged with anything, you might as well do what Tony Bryant, the ex-prosecutor, said he would do: get the first flight out of the place. It is that bad. Seeing the accident was set up on the 22nd of March 92, ever since there's been blabbing Freemasons on the airwaves and in the news all the time, and other people talking about the single set of numbers, either 92 or 22. I bet you've all heard that a lot in recent years. They are Freemasons reminding everyone and joking away that they got me on that particular date and they can't shut up about it. They're all full of crap. They're all raving lunatics. I had to sack Barrister Harradine because I lost confidence that he was working for me. Instead, he appeared to be working for the court because he was convinced, in my opinion, holding secret meetings with the magistrate and the prosecutor. Then Constable Lyndall Merrill Sharp made an appearance, who had no memory of anything anyone said at the intersection. Most men would erupt into violence when they see obvious blatant railroading going on by the courts and their lawyers. That's the intention of the railroading, waiting for you to assault one of them so they can put you in jail. All this is written, published without prejudice. It's simply telling it the way I found it, what I heard, and the documented evidence that I have presented. Then I was in touch with politicians in North Terrace, and a couple of them, Black was going to do something, but he lost his seat straight away. So I moved on to Ian Gilfillan, the leader of the Democrats at the time. They were situated in Black Forest suburb, Democrat headquarters. And Ian Gilfillan said to me over the phone, when I told him about what was going on with the courts, he said, "I'll be going to Parliament and I'll be raising this question and your situation to the highest levels. We can't have this going on. The courts are all corrupt." So guess what happened by tomorrow morning, the morning after? The police had him under charges for fraud or some such, and he had to resign the next day. You see how the Freemasons work? They're listening in everywhere, with all those listening devices I have mentioned they had in the 80s. Never mind what they got now. So you can see West Farmers there without prejudice, because they knew that their $7,500 write-off on the opposition car was a lie. And I proved that by bringing the man who bought it and repaired it for $2,100. This letter is a blatant rip-off lie. They were all in on it. West Farmers full of Freemasons. Frank Webster lawyers refer to this judgment of K. Prescott SM. They don't mention that he's a criminal court magistrate sitting in on the civil court. And they had George, the clerk of the court, escaping from the nut house, organising all this in his clerk work. See how it all operated? Frank Webster had the clerk of the court in their pocket, along with every magistrate in the civil court. Not one was game to say anything while their lawyer from Webster was waving all the magistrates off behind my back with a big plan to wait to get Prescott in to do the ruling. This is how they operate, folks. Here we are, ensure a plea to stamp out cheats in Victoria. What's it say right at the bottom? Right? An alarming increase in false claims prompted NRMA to set up a claims unit with investigators working closely with police and the major fraud squad. False claims included staged accidents, padding losses from burglaries, colluding with reporting or tradespeople, and mobile phone fraud. Staged accidents. This is under Ryan in New South Wales when he's sacking all the police there in the 90s. What does it say? How police still lie and twist evidence in court. What's that say? 200 police to face marching orders. 200 sacked in one day by Peter Ryan, the commissioner in the 90s. What does that go saying? Spy cameras scan our everyday to-day life. They're everywhere. This is Australia, and this should not be going on, where the Freemasons can watch everyone and hear what they're saying in their house virtually from house to house, and put listening devices on anyone they wish. It's all corrupt what's going on. They're all criminals. There we are, up to 10 officers in burglary spree. Hunt, SA. That was Commissioner Hunt in South Australia back then. Organised crime investigator quits after giving false evidence charge. Here we are, Philip Cornford. He interviewed me and said, "Oh, this is nothing what they put me through. Just don't go near these lefty Sydney Morning Herald or the Melbourne Age. You're wasting your time. They're all far left, meaning Freemason." Adelaide Police Complaints Authority facing crisis from workload. That's because there were so many crooked cops being complained about. That's why they got a workload at the time. Last day I was in Adelaide. Paddy wagons of about 8 or 9 uniform cops brought in for break and enter, stealing, burglary, house breakings, police on 100 charges. Leopards don't change their spots in Adelaide. What does it say? Crooked Coast, Adelaide. There's so much corruption along the coast. They called it the Crooked Coast. There is John Bannon hanging out with Archbishop Ian George and Justice Ted Mulligan. after the court cases, and he resigned. This is about Carbone's client. Police believe Carbone was significantly responsible for the man's acquittal, and they set Carbone up to get him. You see how they operate? All set-up merchants in Adelaide. Leopards don't change their spots. They're just the same now, or even worse if you look up Google. There's hundreds of videos complaining about SA police corruption. This video and the other two videos, Adelaide Freemason Corrupt City Part 1, Adelaide Freemason Corrupt City Part 2, and this one, Adelaide Freemason Corrupt City Part 3, are all published without prejudice to warn other young men and old men and some women they are wasting their lives hanging around Adelaide. And all young men who want to come out of the bush and start business in the big smoke Adelaide, they're wasting their time because the Freemasons will set them up and destroy them at will. What did one of those photos show? Do as thy will, meaning sleep with whoever they want, ruin whoever they want, tear apart anyone who they want to. Exactly what they did to me. And there's more coming. Wait for Adelaide Corrupt City Part 4. There you are. You got 5 hours of Freemasons and how they intend to rule the world on this video. Just check it out and listen. And it's very informative, made by an ex-Freemason who was really browned off by the Freemasons like I am, even more so. Here's another one about dealing with the curses of Freemasons. I apologise for lumping all Freemasons into my story the way I have. I know there must be some good ones out there doing the right thing, and I apologise to them. But the world needs to be brought to the world's attention that Australia is completely ruled by Freemasons, because in this video he outlines all the funeral parlours are all owned by Freemasons, and they are going to get rid of Christianity and bring in Mark of the Beast to rule the world. That's their big plan. 33rd degree Freemason as far as they can go, because when God kicked devil out of heaven and come to earth with 1/3 of the angels, that's why they can't go above 33rd degree Freemason. And they are well into the Freemason Satan Bible by this time. They are all bishops and popes of that Bible. They believe in God, but they believe in Satan, not Christ. Basically, my understanding is, seeing they're all Freemasons, anyone above wants to get up to sergeant's got to join the lodge in Ballarat and in Victoria. So they're all Freemasons in the cop shop, run by and controlled by Freemasons. the movie business is, the singing business is, the politicians are controlled, CEOs, all your bosses, all of them. And when you finally kick the bucket, the Freemasons have got their hand in your pocket to bury you. It's all money to the Freemasons. Do you understand? You're paying taxes to the Freemason government, and when the old woman wants to kick you out of the home, the Freemasons judges will kick you out of the home and give her the home, because the money and the votes are with the women. The government has no doubt told the magistrates long ago, rule in favour of the women or you'll lose your job. That's why they're always ruling in favour of women. And look at me. It usually takes one woman to take a man down in court. They use 13, but I think it's closer to 20 that I could visibly see, working hard to work against me, winning in the court. Okay? You can't afford to take women to court. You can't afford to take a Freemason to court or your boss. They will always win, because the judge will always rule in their favour. I watched this in South Australia at Leak Creek. There was Special Magistrate Frank Booth in 1960. I might have been young, but I saw it all. Frank Booth, the magistrate, used to come down to Lyndhurst to get drunk. Outback Hotel. No cops. And Les Burke run the coppers off the road, drunk, and Magistrate Frank Booth fined him £90 and disqualified his licence for 6 months over the incident. When Frank Booth stepped into the Lyndhurst Hotel, Special Magistrate SM, and had a drink with Les Burke 12 months later, they exchanged the Freemason handshake, and Frank Booth stepped back with a start and said, "Oh, Les, if you'd only told me, I would have let you off with nothing." Do you clearly understand how they all operate? When it's one of them, they get away with whatever they want. Murder, bank robbery, the whole business. Just like I went through as a kind of political prisoner in Adelaide while Mr. Bannon escaped from all responsibility of the State Bank going bankrupt in 1992 and $13 billion went missing. Do you all understand how it all works? All this is said and published without prejudice. I don't hate any of these people. They are boring, and I know what to expect. And if you want to win court cases when you've got a Freemason magistrate, do as I do. I have won the last 6 cases in court because you simply print everything out, your statement, give them a copy so the magistrate can read it, and make sure you have a good idea of common law, right and wrong, and stick to it, and they can't move you. The prosecutor can't get you on who said this, or you didn't see that, and you didn't say that, and someone else said this, and you can throw all that out the window when you print your own copies of your own statement, take one with you, give them one, and keep another one. And of course, if you're in the right, they can't beat you. Understood? Without prejudice. All these Freemason judges and lawyers and magistrates I went up against in Adelaide, they not only have shares in the railroading industry, but they have shares in photo frameworks. Got it? Railroading and framing is their business. So fellas, enter Adelaide courts at your own peril. Goodbye, and without prejudice.